Hi and welcome to Raven Rebels tutorial on how to get started programming Ravencoin with Node.js. This is a very basic tutorial, the very first things you need to be able to do stuff on Ravencoin with Node.js and JavaScript. First off, we have you need to have the Ravencoin wallet installed. In this case, we're running on Windows, and you need to have configured your wallet so that's in server mode. You need the RPC user and password. You should also set some which IP addresses you allow, so we only allow localhost. So that's it. That's all you need to have your wallet in server mode. Now let's go to the command prompt and create a project where we communicate with Ravencoin. So let's call this let's call it simple. Simple, and we initialize a default npm package like that. In this case, we will use Axios, the package Axios to do the networking. So we install Axios like that. Nice. So now we want to fetch information from this wallet and do stuff in the command line. So we will start Visual Studio Code, our code editor. We create an index file, and we start by require Axios. Okay, so what do we do? What do we need now? Well, first off, we want to do something like let's create a main function which is asynchronous, so that we can use async await for promises. And we need to say, first of all, we have to say we have to specify options like auth, this which should be the username and the password to our wallet. And you set that in the ravenconf file. So we say that for this little tutorial we have changed the username and password to change this. So okay, so change this. This is the authentication. And now we want to do something like Axios post URL, data, and options. And the thing is that if you want to know what you can do with the commands that you have in or the remote procedure calls, you can just go into the console here and type help. You see there are lots of commands or procedures, and you can also see their arguments or parameters. And so in this case, we might want to say list my assets, for example. Okay, list my assets shows me my assets. So let's start with that. Let's just from the command line run this list my assets stuff. Back to the code. So now we need to say something like post data, and we say JSON RPC should be 1.0. ID of this request not applicable, I don't know. And here comes the cool stuff. We need a method, and we need params. Or we can just do this. So the method and the params. The methods are the procedure or the command, and the params are the parameters. So let's say that the method is list my assets, and in this case params should just be an empty array, right? So now we have the authentication stuff, we have the method, we have the non-existing parameters, we have the data. Now we need a URL. And what would that be? Well, it should be HTTP in our case. It's localhost like this, and then the port in Ravencoin is for RPC is 8766. So when we do this stuff, if we post this, we should, let's see what we get back. Wait, so we do, and let's console. Let's console log the answer. So we run this. And of course nothing happens because we don't call the main function. So let's do that. Reference OSDF. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, so what we got back was the response in Axios. And here we have data. So we can see that this is the Axios response. Let's call it that. And it should be Axios response. So data should be what we're looking for. Data dot result. Okay. Ta-da! Now we have been able, from Node.js and JavaScript, we've been able to communicate with our local wallet, so we can start getting stuff. And before we end this tutorial, yes, we can just try to run a command where we have to add some parameters to see how that works. So let's say list assets. That's a cool one. That will list all the assets. That's a lot of assets. So let's start help list assets. And now we can see that if we want to list all the assets on Ravencoin, we have some arguments that we can use. So let's do that instead. So we say list assets, and so the default value is the first one is optional. Let's say represents all assets, and the second parameter should be if it should be verbose or not. And we want it to be verbose because we want to say, let's start without having the verbose set. Yes, run list assets and see what happens. And we have 42,000 items back. Okay, nice. And let's write this to file so we can do stuff with it. Const ff require. So we can say JSON equals JSON signify Axios response data result null 4. That means that we prettify it, and that should be JSON. And let's write file sync. Let's write to assets.json, the JSON data. So we run this one more time. Now we have the assets JSON. It's a huge file. And here we go. Here we see all the names of all the assets. Lots of assets on Ravencoin network. And we could say that the second argument was this verbose argument. Let's run it in verbose mode so we get more info. So we add second one to this array of params that we sent when we do the RPC call. And run it again. This time we will get a lot more data. It's not just the names, it should also be, let's see, the names, but the metadata. Metadata. I have, there you go. Now we can see that we have the names, yes, but we also have, we can see if they have IPFS or not, if they have content stored with them. So, for example, if you want to do that, you can do something simple such as, okay, we know that Okay, so this is our data. Let's say that we only want to have a list of all the assets that has an IPFS content connected to it. We could then do const values equals object values, because we are not interested in we have key value, and the key is the name of the asset, but the name of the asset is also here in the values under the property name, so that's okay. We can just say so this, now we have a list of assets. We can do const assets with IPFS should then be t.filter, and we say return asset dot, what was it, has IPFS. Yes. So let's filter out here. Let's filter out the assets that has IPFS. Like that. So now we only get the assets that has the IPFS. The shit. Why does it say that? Oh, sorry. Well, I should make object of values. Of course, we should only have the values on these. So now we have a list of all the assets that has IPFS hashes. Nice. That was all for today. So now you learned how to communicate with your Ravencoin wallet from Node.js. We have been in this example we're using Axios. You can use request or whatever package you want to use, and you have learned how to authenticate, how to make the RPC call, how to set with which method you want to use, and how to set parameters. So start doing cool stuff with that. Thank you very much, and if you have liked this video, please give it a like, and please feel free to subscribe to our channel. And if you have any input, negative or positive, you are very welcome to leave a comment in the YouTube section, in the comment section. Thank you very much, and happy 2022. Bye.